Hello, dear friends, it's Carly, and welcome back to another video. And in this video, I am in a slightly different energetic space. I feel like this week I have had an opening and a stepping forward into new territory. You may be noticing that I got a new webcam, so that's something. That's very minor compared to what has gone on inside of myself, where I feel like there has been a part of myself that has been there this entire time, and yet the door to access it has been locked. And within this last week, the door has opened, and there's this new part, there's this new level to who I am. And I don't understand it. And that's the piece that I want to talk about, because that's the interesting, of course, like the interesting piece that I'm witnessing in all of this is this opening, this new place is largely emotional. It's feeling, it's emotion that rises from inside of me out of nowhere and powerfully takes me in one direction or another and shows me something, either with tears that it hurts and I feel it in my body, or I'm laughing hysterically, so laughing so hard I'm crying tears that, again, I can feel it in my body. And these waves just keep coming to where I wrote in my journal this morning that, like, at this point, I feel like this has risen in me to where now I am basically an infinity pool where I am overflowing with emotion with every single little ripple of feeling that moves through me. And it's such an odd sensation, and it's helping me to see something that I've never really been able to see before. And that is like this idea that everybody has masculine energy, everybody has feminine energy. We all have all of them, and that each of us is unique, like maybe I have 80% masculine, 20% feminine. Maybe a different person has the exact opposite. Maybe they're in a male body, I'm in a female body. Like, it just, the way that our masculine and feminine come together to intermingle inside of us, and the way that dances with the rest of our entire identity is truly fascinating. And that's what I'm being able to witness this week more than I ever have before, because as I've had this opening, which happened through meditation, but I have a long history with meditation. I feel like it was bigger than that. It was like more of a shift that happened in me where I was ready for that relationship with myself. I was hungry for that connection with myself. And so then when I sat to meditate, I had access, and it was an opening, and it just, the waves of emotion that I've been through this week and this morning, like every single day, to the point where I'm hoping that this is my new normal. And yet I feel disoriented within it because I don't understand it. And, like, for example, examples help. For example, this morning I'm crying at the point where I like drop into the witnessing. I'm crying like really hard, like tensing my core, kind of like really pushing that energy out. And the first thing I noticed was that it felt really good. And the second thing I noticed is that it was like the emotion wasn't attached to anything. Like it was like the emotion didn't have a reason wrapped around it. Like there were no thoughts. There were no like reasons like why I was crying. And my observer, my like witnessing this, like trying to make it all make sense, you know, like here's this emotion, here's what I'm doing right now, and then here's like over here is where I would expect to find the justification for this emotional reaction, whatever energy is moving through me at this moment. This all happens like just in a split second, but just to like really try to paint this picture. So I'm feeling like this doesn't make sense. And all of a sudden it was like there was the emotion, there was the witnessing that was trying to compare the emotion to the justification for the emotion, and then there was like this bigger awareness that was seeing me trying to make my emotion make sense compared to this other thing. So it was like a triple out of body experience, like, and meanwhile the whole time I'm like like bawling my eyes out, you know, like how we do. I didn't a week ago, like up until a week ago. Like my experience with crying has been like I'm so deep in my depression and my pain and my hopelessness, and that's where I'm crying from. And this is not that. This is not like that. This is mostly love. This is mostly joy. This is mostly like, I feel so grateful. I have such powerful appreciation for where I am and what I'm experiencing, and the power of the appreciation just bursts out of my eyeballs as tears. And it's powerful. I'll get like a real sob going on. And so what ended up happening is I like have these like multiple different observation points going on at the same time. It felt like it all collapsed back down into this moment of the one level observing you don't need to be crying, like basically like coming to this conclusion that like this doesn't make sense, like there's no need in this moment for you to be crying like this, you don't need to cry like this. And that bigger awareness that was watching the whole thing so gently, so lovingly, so sweetly, looks at this version of myself and says, yes, but we want to cry. We want this. We like it. It's enjoyable. It's a pleasure. It's a relief. It's a release. We want to cry. We don't need to cry. And I just like, oh my God, like at that moment, I feel like I just like pushed all my chips into the middle of the table. I'm all in, and I just really doubled down on, yeah, I don't need to cry. I'm not sad. I want to dissolve any tension in any little corner of my being. I want to dissolve that energy, that stuck, sticky energy. I want it to flow out. I want it to flow through with this other wave of emotion. Like these waves of emotion, I remember, you know, before, when, that's why I say I think this was always present, because I remember this feeling of like, oh, it's powerful, it's rising, it's coming. And I remember like right about here is where the gate was, where like you don't get to come any farther than that. Get back down there. Get back down. That's no, bad boy, like get back in. And I just left it there. I didn't, my gate for holding it in was like all the way down here in my stomach. Like it didn't get to really rise up. And it's very interesting to me. It's like all clicking. Tomorrow actually will be the 1-year anniversary since I started my podcast. And my goal with the podcast was to get my voice to flow, was to activate that flow of energy and to move energy with my voice, which I know I love to do. And it was just a matter of allowing myself to do that or not. And what I'm seeing like this morning and this whole last week, is that this energy, this emotion, this divine feminine, if you will, this receptivity, this feeling the interconnectedness of all things, feeling the mass consciousness energy that's full of the whole world's hopes and dreams and fears. Like when we are really in our divine feminine, like you can't get away from that. Like the interconnectedness of all things, like it just, that energy soup that we're all swimming in. So when we really open up to our own emotions, it's like the whole world is crying through us sometimes. Like that's how I felt these last 5 days. Like, oh, it's powerful. It's powerful. And the only thing that has changed, is it's like that door that was like once right here. It's now like this, like my desire, like where I started, like my desire to have that relationship with myself, to know myself, to go inward. I wanted to see what was in there. I was genuinely ready to face it. And that was all it took to open that door. And these last 5-6 days, like the waves of emotion that have been coming have been just like so powerful. And already I'm seeing, what happens when you clear energy, you clear away old energy from your grid, like you allow it to finally move. And what that equates to is clear space in your grid. And I know, and I'm seeing it already, that when you have clear space in your grid, new things come in. So this is feeling so good. And the realization this morning that we don't need to cry. We want to cry. We want to move that energy. We want to release the old stagnant energy, that stuff that can rise up, because that's who we were in the past. That's wounding that we're working on healing from the past. It does come up. And rather than just pushing it back down and continuing to hang on to that energy, this week, maybe for the first time in my freaking life, like it's just flowing. And that's where, we all have divine feminine, we all have divine masculine. And as far as what I can see from where I'm at right now, it seems to be not even necessarily a matter of like cultivating one or the other inside of ourselves to achieve that balance, but more a new level of self-acceptance. And like as this pool of emotion has risen to my surface, it's also brought with it all of the limiting beliefs around why I wasn't feeling this emotion in the first place. Like basically I had, I think is safe to say, because I feel like every time I cry, this is melting out of me a little bit more, but I had a bit of a derogatory view towards emotion, towards emotional expression, towards crying, towards like, that's weaker than, being stronger than that, yada, yada, yada. Like there was definitely a perspective in my mindset that I don't even think I really consciously understood that it was there until I organically came to this place where I wanted this deepened relationship with myself. I wanted that. And I feel like what I got was more than I bargained for, but I'm so glad that I like had this moment where I was so ready to experience that. And it was just a matter of like letting the door open inside of myself that's been holding it off. So like, I wonder, and I'm not going to generalize and make stereotypes here because I personally don't appreciate stereotypes. So whether, you're in like a male gender body, a female gender body, doesn't matter. Whether you're coming to it from a place of you feel more dominant in your masculine and you're wanting to further develop your feminine, or vice versa, you're coming from a place of feeling really comfortable in your feminine and you want to develop more masculine. I'm very curious, and I would love to hear from you guys in the comments as far as like, do you feel or have you had experiences where these energies that maybe initially we come to it from a place of wanting to build that inside of ourselves and wanting to build it up and get stronger in that area, that like really it's already there and it's just a matter of like letting it come out. Yeah, that's been my experience, and maybe just some food for thought as far as like, what is your experience? I would be really interested in knowing, even just which side do you feel more comfortable in. Also, how do you even define masculine and feminine? Because this week of really letting, again, I don't even think I understood that that's what I was asking for when I was saying in my own mind, in my own heart, in my own intention, that I want this deeper relationship with myself. I don't think I realized what I was even asking for. And it's like my divine feminine just was like, here's what you're not embracing yet. Like, here I am. Like, you can wrap your arms around me. I'm here. You know, you asked, I answered. Here we are. So yeah, I got what I needed though when I set that intention that I want this deeper relationship with myself. And so it's all working out exactly as it's meant to be, I think, is my bottom line, my takeaway on all of this. Like, as we soften into ourselves, as we acknowledge that we are good and that we are in the perfect place at the perfect time, we are exactly as we meant to be. You know, the way that we've developed and the way that we are is exactly as we meant to be. And every bit of it is our superpower, whether we're on the part of the path where we're still gathering our own understanding, or we're in the part where we've learned how to use our superpowers both on ourselves and for the benefit of the highest good of all. It's all part of the same unfolding. It all goes together, and there's no wrong way to put the pieces together. I think that's like probably an intention that I'm hoping to like anchor deeper into myself, as far as coming back to it over and over again. Like, I want to have a deeper relationship with myself. I want to unlock pieces of myself that I'm not yet fully experiencing and embracing. And I want to offer those pieces the love that I've found in my current state. And I want to bring those pieces back into me and give them that same love that I'm offering to the pieces I've already reclaimed. And it's so interesting how, like, where I started, like, all of this emotion comes through, and so often I don't understand it. I'm realizing, like, the feminine side of the flow and the beingness, and the masculine side of the logic and the understanding and all of that. And that I have come through a path where my masculine is just what I'm more used to operating in, and my feminine is what I've been working on allowing, my ability to go with the flow and not to have to plan and, you know, make a logical argument for every single thing I'm doing, to just go with what my gut says and like learn to use my intuition. So that has been something that I've been like in the process of unfolding, that flow side, for years. Probably ever since I found Abraham, as far as like what she teaches and like using your emotions to guide yourself. And here I am, like I love this state of, you know, life can get pretty freaking good, and then you can shoot to a level of it being so much better, and that can just continue to happen. Like, there is no end all be all manifestation or like one thing or one relationship that we're trying to manifest, because the truth is, like, it just keeps going and going and going and going. And the levels and the depth and the deliciousness of every single step in front of the other is really where the juice of this experience, it basically is an experiment, one giant trip, basically, one giant experience of medicine, of healing. Every single moment is for our highest good. And these moments with these waves of emotion have been almost humbling. Like there's such a delicacy and like I almost want to say an intimacy with the collective, to cry the collective's tears and to feel the uncertainty and the fear that's out there, and to witness it and to let that energy move through me and to feel it and to release it, to let myself release it again on behalf of the collective. When we melt our own resistance, those ripple effects ripple out big time, big time. Just being with my flow, seeing if there's anything else. There's no wrong way. It's all right. It's all right on time. It's all right here inside of you. Until next time, dear friends, you take such good care of your beautiful selves, and so will I.